Alright, listen up. This season of Real Housewives of Potomac is already blowing up, and I've got the inside scoop you won't hear anywhere else. Stacy? Her divorce story? Totally fake. And she's sitting right next to Cookie, someone who knows every single secret in that social circle. Then there's Monique, juggling affairs, receipts, and a campaign to discredit Cookie before she even becomes a player. Money, lies, manipulation. This isn't just drama, it's a game of survival. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's really going on behind the cameras, and trust me, things get explosive. Alright, everyone, today we're diving into the two storylines that truly matter on the Real Housewives of Potomac 2025. I'm here to break it down clearly from the very beginning of the season, because let's be honest, Bravo tends to drag storylines out for months before they make sense. Not here. I'm going to give you the full picture now, without waiting until the season finale. Before we dive in, a quick note, my channel is about reviewing shows, pop culture, and mainstream stories, but I only do it if I have the full story. I don't review based on one person's perspective or half-baked information. Some channels will give you polite, squeaky clean recaps. This isn't one of them. I keep it raw, honest, and real. That's important, because sometimes my insights are used by fans, bloggers, and even producers to see the bigger picture. In fact, there's a chance that my videos could eventually be part of documentaries on HBO or TLC. If that happens, you'll know my work is accurate and trustworthy. Now, let's get into it. A few weeks ago, I made a video titled Monique Stacy Returns to RHOP with New Storyline, which got over 237,000 views. In that video, I mentioned that PTOIC producers had brought Cookie onto the show. Most of you didn't know who Cookie was, but I did, thanks to my time following the DMV socialite scene. Cookie was a prominent figure in a group of African-American women in the DMV who were always in the thick of social events. She also has connections with Monique Stacy, which immediately made me think she was a smart addition to the show, someone who knows all the dynamics and drama. In this same social circle, there's Stacy, a woman who had been chasing her dream of joining the Real Housewives of PTOIC for years. Her determination wasn't subtle. Anyone who followed the DMV socialite scene knew she had her sights set on reality TV fame long before she ever appeared on camera. She auditioned multiple times, networked tirelessly with insiders, and subtly put herself in situations that would make producers notice her. For Stacy, joining the show wasn't just a casual opportunity. It was a calculated career move, a chance to step into a spotlight she had been orbiting for years. She built relationships, attended high-profile events, and ensured she was visible in the circles that mattered. Everyone in her social group knew she had her eyes on PTOIC. Some even admired her persistence, while others quietly questioned whether her ambitions might overshadow her authenticity. Fast forward to 2025, and after years of strategizing, Stacy finally achieved her goal. She's on the show. On the surface, it seems like the culmination of her hard work and networking, a moment where all her preparation pays off. But as soon as the cameras start rolling, drama is never far behind. In true housewives fashion, allegations surface quickly. Stacy is accused of fabricating her divorce storyline. Within moments, the air is charged with tension, whispers float around the set, and the other cast members start questioning her credibility. The storyline she presented, meant to position her as a relatable, independent woman navigating post-divorce life, is suddenly under scrutiny. What was supposed to be a compelling narrative, something that could garner audience sympathy and keep her relevant in the early episodes, now becomes the focal point of skepticism. Initially, I thought to myself, well, she had to give the producers something. After all, producers rely on storylines that generate drama and intrigue. For someone like Stacy, who's just breaking into this elite circle, fabricating a storyline might feel like a necessary evil. It's almost a rite of passage for newcomers. You present yourself in a way that will make producers take notice, even if it means exaggerating or bending the truth slightly. Many reality TV newcomers do it. Some get away with it, and others quickly find themselves exposed. From a production standpoint, it's not unusual. But the stakes for Stacy are higher because of who she's sitting next to, someone who is intimately connected to the truth and likely to notice any inconsistencies. And here's the kicker, she's sitting right next to Cookie, a figure who knows the inner workings of the social group, all the interactions, relationships, and history that Stacy might prefer remain hidden. Cookie isn't just another cast member, she's someone who has a long-standing, well-documented relationship with Monique Stacy and has been a part of the social circles that Stacy frequented. Cookie has witnessed the same events that Stacy has been trying to portray differently on camera. She knows the genuine nature of people's relationships, the real-life interactions, and the behind-the-scenes dynamics that viewers never see. For Stacy, this proximity is risky, very risky. Every smile, every nod, every seemingly casual conversation takes on the potential to reveal cracks in her story. Cookie's presence alone is a natural check on Stacy's narrative, and it forces Stacy to tread carefully. Any attempt to exaggerate or mislead now carries the immediate risk of exposure. This situation creates a unique tension. On one hand, Stacy wants to shine on camera, craft a storyline that captivates viewers, and solidify her spot on the show. On the other hand, she has to navigate the reality that someone with insider knowledge, someone who knows the full backstory, is observing her closely. Every fabricated detail becomes a potential trap. The pressure is immense. There's the fear of being caught in a lie, of losing credibility with the cast and producers, and of potentially jeopardizing her position for future seasons. In reality television, perception often carries as much weight as the truth, and for Stacy, maintaining the appearance of honesty while pushing a narrative that might not be entirely factual is a high-wire act. Moreover, this dynamic isn't just about personal relationships, it has financial and professional implications as well. Cast members are often paid per episode, and storylines that generate controversy or get cut due to inaccuracies can directly affect income. If Stacy's fabricated storyline is exposed, she risks alienating her co-stars, potentially losing screen time, and ultimately impacting her pay. It also influences how producers and the audience perceive her. Reality TV thrives on conflict, but there's a fine line between being an engaging character and being viewed as dishonest or manipulative. Stacy's choices here could determine her trajectory on the show for years to come. In addition, her interactions with Cookie set the stage for dramatic tension that the show can leverage. Viewers often enjoy seeing conflicts simmer before they boil over, and the subtle power dynamics between Stacy and Cookie are ripe for narrative exploration. Stacy must balance charm, diplomacy, and strategy, all while navigating a storyline that's already on shaky ground. She's effectively playing a game where one misstep could unravel her carefully constructed image. Finally, the presence of Cookie adds another layer to the intrigue because she represents a form of accountability. Cookie has the potential to either expose the truth, subtly hint at inconsistencies, or allow Stacy to continue her storyline unchecked. It's a silent but powerful influence on the set, and for Stacy, it's a constant reminder that in reality television, authenticity, or at least the appearance of it, is everything. Every move she makes is under scrutiny, not just by viewers and producers, but by someone who has the knowledge and the means to disrupt her agenda. So, as Stacy embarks on this season of The Real Housewives of PTOIC, the stakes couldn't be higher. She's finally achieved her goal of landing on the show, but her path is fraught with potential pitfalls. From accusations of fabricating her divorce to navigating the proximity of a well-informed peer like Cookie, every decision she makes will be tested, analyzed, and ultimately judged by both her co-stars and the audience. It's a delicate balance of ambition, strategy, and authenticity. And in this social circle, one wrong move could change everything. Digging deeper, it turns out Stacy's storyline is indeed a lie. This was even noted in a book from last season called The Cookie Crumbles Chronicles. What infuriated the cast was that Stacy tried to block a scene from airing, crying to producers to protect herself. The issue? Cast members get paid per episode, so if scenes are cut or shelved, they lose money. Stacy's bold-faced deception didn't just upset her co-stars, it cost them financially. Stacy's actions didn't stop there. She's also been accused of stealing Wendy's business ideas and promoting other products, which has further angered the cast. And if that wasn't enough, Cookie holds receipts, text messages proving Stacy asked her to plant stories on blogs, essentially shaping her public image. Stacy's attempts to control the narrative included crafting a bio that highlighted her career, socialite status, bilingual skills, and high-profile connections, all while inflating her own image. Given all this, it seems unlikely Stacy will return next season, especially once executives learn how far she went to manipulate storylines and undermine her co-stars. But this is just small potatoes compared to what's happening with Monique Samuels. Monique has long had a reputation for lying, cheating, and feeding stories to blogs. Years ago, a blog post misrepresented an incident involving her, skewing the narrative in her favor. Over time, it became clear that she's very concerned about what's being said online, particularly because of affairs she's had while married, including one with Jason Williams. Rumors suggest there's a tape proving she had an affair while married, which could damage her image with her ex-husband, Chris Samuels. Speaking of Chris, The divorce reportedly didn't leave Monique with much money, around $200,000, which she spent on furnishing a new home. Compounding her financial strain, she was fired from her radio job due to the affair. With no steady income, the Real Housewives of Potomac became a necessary source of income. She even made amends with key cast members to smooth her way. But imagine her shock when she walked onto the set and Cookie was there. Was this a deliberate move by producers, or just a coincidence? That question lingers like a shadow over the entire season. Cookie, after all, isn't just any new cast member or someone who wandered onto the set by chance. She happens to be Chris Samuel's best friend, someone deeply embedded in his personal life and social circle. This connection alone gives her an unusual position of power and insight, especially regarding Monique. Cookie isn't just there to sip cocktails and exchange pleasantries. She carries receipts, stories, and evidence that could completely unravel Monique's carefully curated narrative. From past affairs to behind-the-scenes interactions, Cookie's knowledge positions her as a potential game-changer in a storyline that Monique likely believed she had under control. It's not an exaggeration to say that Cookie's mere presence introduces an element of unpredictability that neither the producers nor Monique could fully ignore. The timing of Cookie's arrival makes the situation even more intriguing. Just after I released a video hinting at the potential existence of a tape involving Jason Williams, I was immediately bombarded with emails warning me about Cookie. And I don't mean a few casual messages. This was a flood, a relentless barrage of people insisting I don't trust Cookie. The messages were explicit. Cookie was bad news. She had a criminal record decades ago. She was dangerous, untrustworthy, and in general, someone I shouldn't take seriously. The sheer volume and specificity of these messages made it feel almost orchestrated. At first, I was baffled. Why would anyone go to such lengths to send me a detailed log about someone who, by all appearances, hadn't even become a major player on the show yet? Cookie hadn't yet inserted herself into central storylines, and most viewers barely knew her name. It seemed out of proportion, almost suspicious in its intensity. As I started to piece together the puzzle, a clearer picture began to emerge. The messages weren't random. They were strategically designed to discredit Cookie before she could impact the narrative. It became increasingly obvious that Monique herself was behind this. She knew the potential danger Cookie posed. She was aware of the receipts Cookie had in her possession, evidence that could expose her past affairs, questionable decisions, and the lies she'd told to maintain her image. By sending messages aimed at discrediting Cookie, Monique was attempting to control the story before it spiraled out of her hands. It was a preemptive strike, an attempt to shape public perception and keep her secrets buried. This tactic reveals a lot about Monique's approach to her reality TV persona. She understands that reputation is everything on a show like The Real Housewives of Potomac, where every glance, every whisper, and every subtle interaction is analyzed, dissected, and judged by both viewers and producers. Introducing someone like Cookie, someone with direct knowledge of Monique's personal life, poses a threat not just to her image but to her carefully constructed storyline. And instead of confronting it openly, Monique opted for subtle manipulation, trying to turn others against Cookie and prevent the narrative from shifting in an unfavorable direction. At the heart of this is the power of perception. Monique isn't just worried about what Cookie knows, she's acutely aware of how the audience will interpret it. In the modern media landscape, perception often outweighs reality. The court of public opinion moves quickly, forming judgments in moments, and once an idea takes hold, it's remarkably difficult to dislodge. Monique seems to understand this instinctively. By sending out these carefully calculated warning signals, she's not merely reacting to Cookie, she's attempting to preemptively shape the narrative. Every subtle gesture, every carefully worded remark, every pointed look is designed to plant a seed of doubt in viewers' minds before Cookie even has the opportunity to articulate her perspective. It's a classic defensive maneuver, the kind that has been employed by public figures, celebrities, and politicians for generations. Control the narrative before it has a chance to control you. The strategy is both simple and deviously effective, at least in theory. By signaling distrust or suspicion, Monique positions herself as the guardian of truth, the voice of reason in a world where misinformation can spread unchecked. If she can convince the audience that Cookie's words might be unreliable, exaggerated, or even malicious, then any revelations Cookie might later share could be dismissed as the ramblings of an attention seeker. In essence, Monique is attempting to inoculate the public against potential scandal, building a shield of preemptive credibility around herself while simultaneously undermining Cookie's authority. In public relations terms, it's an anticipatory strike. You don't wait for a problem to occur, you shape the environment so that when it inevitably arises, it lands in your favor. Yet, Despite the meticulous planning, the strategy carries its own inherent irony. The more aggressively Monique attempts to discredit Cookie, the more attention Cookie inevitably attracts. It's a paradox that often emerges in high-stakes social dynamics. Attempts to suppress a voice can amplify it. By focusing so much energy on a relatively unknown figure, Monique inadvertently validates Cookie's relevance. Audiences are natural skeptics. They wonder why someone would expend so much effort to silence or undermine another person unless that person actually had something worth hearing. In this sense, Monique's defensive posture may actually backfire, amplifying the very influence she seeks to contain. Each warning, each disparaging comment, and each carefully framed critique serves as a spotlight, drawing the public's gaze toward Cookie and generating curiosity. This dynamic is intensified by the very nature of modern media consumption. In an age of constant social feeds, viral clips, and rapid-fire commentary, audiences are conditioned to pay attention to conflict. They are drawn to tension and controversy because it promises insight, drama, or revelation. By positioning Cookie as a target, Monique inadvertently casts her as a central character in a drama unfolding before the audience's eyes. Viewers become invested, not necessarily because they know or trust Cookie, but because they sense that there is something significant at stake, something worth observing. This attention, however unwanted by Monique, strengthens Cookie's visibility and enhances her platform. The more Monique fights to discredit her, the larger Cookie's shadow grows in the public consciousness. Moreover, there is a psychological element to consider. Humans are naturally curious creatures. When we are warned repeatedly that someone is dangerous, untrustworthy, or problematic, our instinct is often to investigate, to look behind the curtain, and to understand what exactly is being hidden from us. Monique's attempts to shape perception are rooted in a sophisticated understanding of social psychology. She knows that preemptive warnings can seed doubt, but she also risks triggering the opposite effect. Instead of suppressing interest, her warnings may provoke it, compelling the audience to seek out Cookie's side of the story, to weigh her words against the cautions being issued. In other words, attempts to manipulate public perception can easily generate the opposite result: heightened scrutiny and amplified attention. At a deeper level, this situation highlights the precarious balance of power in public discourse. Influence is rarely absolute, and the act of trying to control how others interpret information is inherently fraught. Monique's efforts reflect a desire to maintain authority, to protect her reputation, and to manage the flow of information in her favor. Yet, the very act of trying to dominate the narrative acknowledges vulnerability. It signals that there is something at stake, something potentially destabilizing, and that Cookie represents a threat, however subtle or indirect. By signaling defensiveness, Monique paradoxically reveals the strength of Cookie's potential impact, even without Cookie uttering a word. In the theater of public perception, the interplay between intention, action, and audience response is endlessly complex, and attempts to predict or control it can never be entirely foolproof. Ultimately, what we see here is a classic case of perception shaping reality. Monique's strategic warnings, her preemptive attempts to discredit Cookie, are designed to manipulate the audience's understanding before events unfold. Yet, human attention is a finite and unpredictable resource, and the act of trying to suppress another's influence often shines an even brighter spotlight on them. The irony is rich. The more fiercely Monique seeks to guard her narrative, the more she inadvertently empowers the very person she hopes to neutralize. In the end, this dynamic illustrates a timeless truth about influence and reputation. In a world where perception drives consequence, efforts to control the story can easily create new, unintended narratives, with outcomes that are as revealing as they are ironic. In short, Cookie's presence on the show isn't just another casting decision, it's a catalyst. Her connection to Chris Samuels, combined with the receipts she holds and the preemptive attacks from Monique, sets the stage for a collision that could upend everything. Whether producers planned it or it's pure coincidence, one thing is clear. The dynamics between Monique and Cookie are poised to drive the season's most compelling drama, and every move they make will be scrutinized by the cast, the audience, and even insiders like myself. Here's the twist. Cookie's access to these tapes is through Chris Samuels himself. He knew about the affair all along and stayed silent, taking the high road. Meanwhile, Monique has been crafting a narrative portraying Chris as the villain, conveniently leaving out her own infidelity. It raises questions. Did Bravo know? Was Cookie brought in intentionally to reveal the truth? Could Cookie become a full-time cast member, the next Ashley, but with receipts? And then there's the question of whether Monique is behind the campaign to discredit Cookie, warning everyone that her past criminal record, 27 years ago, makes her untrustworthy. But here's the reality. Cookie is a minor player at this point, simply someone who attended dinner with the cast. Meanwhile, the tape of her with a married man has been released, further validating claims about Monique's affair. So now, Monique faces the ultimate dilemma. The more she tries to discredit Cookie, the more attention Cookie receives. Meanwhile, the evidence that could expose Monique's behavior is already in circulation, and her attempts to manipulate the story only make her appear guilty. At the end of the day, viewers are left wondering, is Monique a homewrecker, and was she behind the anti-Cookie messages? Only time will tell how this saga unfolds on The Real Housewives of Potomac.